Good afternoon. I'm sitting on the back porch having my lunch, letting the dogs run around. All the boys are down there working on one of their old cars. There's always a car to work on. All of our boys like to have old vehicles that they can tinker with and work on. So today they're working on Isaac's. Anyway, I just finished some lunch and wanted to talk about yesterday. Yesterday I finished cleaning out my third and final freezer. I did some work. So I always make fun of my kitchen. It's a small little kitchen and I kind of make fun of it because it's little, there's not much space, it's not very convenient, it gets really hot, it's an older house, and that kitchen takes a beating from me. Like, I throw down in the kitchen and I go hard in there and it barely keeps up. Well, yesterday that happened to me by the freezers. Those freezers for the last 3 days have kicked my butt, and I am so mad at them that at one point I was not through with what I was working on yesterday and I just laid down on my face in the kitchen floor. I was done. My daughter comes around the corner and she goes, "Mama, are you okay?" And I said, "I'm fine." I kid you not. I'll show you the picture. She snapped a picture of me and sent it to my husband with the caption, "She gave up." I'm like, yep. Now I know what my kitchen feels like when I throw down in it because those freezers kicked my tail. So the first freezer I made a little room in. The second freezer we made a big dent in. And then the third freezer was going to be the nightmare of a freezer. So I didn't make a video of me cleaning it out. I took a bunch of pictures of it empty, of all of the things that I got out of there, of all the things I was going to do with it, and I'm going to attach it here so that you can see all the things. But I'm proud of myself for getting through it. I am proud of all the things that I was able to pull out of there, preserve, prepare ahead of time, make a really good dent in it. And I am so mad at myself that I literally laid on the floor and gave up. By the end of the day, I said, I'm not cooking anymore. I'm not cooking today. I used the microwave to heat myself up some lunch. And last night I went and sat cross-legged in my watermelon patch just so I could be outside and away from the kitchen and away from the food and away from the freezers and away from the things, and had no shoes on and enjoyed myself. So congratulate me. I accomplished something big time, and if you can do the same, or if I've inspired you to make a little bit of room in a freezer or a refrigerator or to put some things away for a future date on your shelf, I hope I did so. Thank you for joining me on this crazy journey. I'm sure I'm gonna have to do it again in like 6 months or maybe a year. We'll see how Canuary goes in January, because between now and then I'm not canning another dang thing unless it is fresh produce from my own garden, which hasn't started putting off yet, but I know we'll get there, especially with the tomatoes in the end. So thanks. Here's the photos. Okay, this is the freezer of death, the third and final boss level. I cleaned out both drawers but left the ice cream in there because I knew it was going right back and didn't want it to thaw out. I threw some things on a sheet pan out of there to get rid of them for lunch for the kids. I found a few convenience items, some burritos and some hamburger patties to throw back in, and then this entire package of things went back to the freezer downstairs, and I started amassing this pile of stuff that I was going to cook with. This I was also going to cook and get out of there. And this was some stuff that I had already prepared for when I go back to work that I've put back in the freezer. Let the cooking begin. We've got cookies, we've got lunch, and we've got several casseroles I'm gonna make. Also, this cherry berries were frozen. I'm gonna turn that into cherry berry muffins. This little pile is gonna get turned into dinner, which is gonna be a Mexican lasagna. This one here is going to be layered up and turned into a shepherd's pie / beef pie type of casserole to go into the freezer for future use. This one's going to become chicken parmesan, which was super easy. If you have a jar of sauce, use it, but I had tomatoes and fresh basil, so I made a quick sauce. I blended it down and then I layered it into that pan with some chicken patties and some cheese and froze it. This is making the filling for the shepherd beef pie. I put some potatoes in the bottom of the pan, let those roast off a little bit, and then threw the beef on the top, and then I threw some freezer frozen buttermilk biscuits on the top. I did not cook this. I put it back in the freezer just like this. I'll cook it when I'm prepared to use it. And at this point, I gave up and I died and I laid on the floor and then I had to get right back up, get my act together, and get these cherry berry muffins mixed up and into the oven. They came out really well. I was going to save them. They ended up all being eaten. The entire time I'm working, I'm being supervised by a lady who thinks she's in charge of the kitchen. And then I started cooking the Spanish rice and the taco meat and bean filling that I used to make this layered Mexican lasagna for dinner with some pepper jack cheese, which turned out really good. And then I laid in my watermelon patch. But just as a memory, after doing all that on day 3, these 26 jars came from the first haul. All of these jars and casseroles came from the second haul, plus all the stuff we just finished. Me and Lady are going to take a nap. Have a great day.